What do snowmen call their babies? Children. Hey guys, Ducky here. I can't wait to get to do our teaching together this week. We are getting to talk about one of my most favorite topics in the whole wide world. It's my favorite time of year. There's always snow on the ground during it. The house smells so good from the baking, and you get to wake up early one morning and find presents under your tree. Can you guess what we're talking about? It's Christmas. It's going to be so exciting. Now you might be wondering, why in the world are we talking about Christmas in the summer? Well, you see, I just think that Christmas is too important to only talk about it once a year. And so we are going to dive right into our story of Christmas. Now I have a question for you. Have you ever noticed that Christmas is everywhere? It seems to take over the entire world around December. Even for people who don't celebrate Christmas, there's decorations all over the malls, stores are playing Christmas music, the advertisements on TV are all about Christmas. Christmas really takes over our world for the winter. Pretty crazy, isn't it? Do you know where the story of Christmas comes from? How Christmas started? What it's actually all about? Believe it or not, it isn't about the presents. It's not about the fun decorations or the baking or even getting together with family. That's not where Christmas started. Did you know that Christmas is actually the telling of a story that's in the Bible? It is one of the most important stories in the entire Bible because the story of Christmas is the story of the birth of Jesus. Jesus is a really important guy, if you didn't know. Jesus is the Son of God. He was both completely human and completely God. That's pretty tricky to wrap your head around. But he was a human form of God that came down to the earth and spent time with humans. Pretty exciting, isn't it? Our big idea today covers the whole story. Our big idea is that God made you. God's plan is for you, and Jesus is the only way. So why did God have to come down to earth in the form of Jesus anyways? Do you know why that had to happen? Let me tell you a little story. Way back in the beginning, when the earth was first created, God created it to be perfect. He created the earth to look just like heaven. Heaven and earth were one, and we could be together with God. But something happened a long, long time ago. The very first humans had a choice to make. You see, God made us, and he loves us so much that he gives us the choice to follow him. That is so kind of him. So they had a choice. And unfortunately, they made the wrong choice. God asked them not to eat from a certain tree, but they disobeyed him. They didn't listen to him. And when they did that, they sinned. Sin is a fancy word for disobeying God. Now, when that first happened, that very first sin, heaven and earth couldn't be together anymore, and they had to be separated. And people were separated from God. And God was separated from the humans that he loves so much, and he was sad. And so right from that moment, God had a plan in place, and he had a plan to make everything right again, a plan to get humans and him back together. That plan involved a certain guy who we just talked about. Do you remember what his name is? It's Jesus. God's plan was to send his son, to send a king of all kings, a savior for the whole world, someone who would come and save humanity so humans and God could live together again. That's the Christmas story. It's just the beginning of the story, and you might know that it goes on to another part of our life, another holiday called Easter, but that's a story for another time. The beginning of the story, the beginning of God's plan was Christmas, when his son was born as a human, as a little tiny baby on earth. And let me tell you, the arrival of this king, of this boy, changed everything. It changed everything. And we're going to get to learn all about this story. Are you excited? This week, our key verse is from the book of James. James is a book of the Bible that's in the New Testament. That means it's in the second half of the Bible and is the part of the Bible during and after Jesus was on earth. James is a letter that was written, and it's filled with amazing advice and teaching, and it's all things that we can use for us today. So let's read our key verse. James chapter 1, verse 17. Every good and perfect gift is from God. This kind of gift comes down from the Father who created the heavenly lights. Every good and perfect gift is from God our Father. And this week, we're going to learn about how Jesus is the greatest gift that we have ever been given.